Have you ever felt like no matter how many people follow you, subscribe to you, however many viewers you have in your stream, it never feels like enough? Well, the reason for that is actually pretty simple. Streamers, unfortunately, have a really bad habit of equating our worth to our stats and our analytics. So it's basically that psychological trap of external validation. The streaming platforms that we're on make us think that more views and more followers equals more success. And more success in our heads means that we are actually worthy. And that's not always the case where followers equals success. It really depends on your why for why you're streaming. If you're wanting to create a community, then sure, you want more followers because you want a larger community. But if you're streaming for yourself or for fun and you're not really concerned about growing a community, then the number of views and followers you have don't really matter. But the streaming platforms have made us feel like it matters. Or when you put a follow goal up and you finally hit it and you feel really excited for maybe that day or so, but then you set a new follow goal and you're like, all right, we're chasing this next one. And you start chasing that feeling of fulfillment pretty much immediately after you just hit this goal that you were really excited to hit. That's why you'll hear every single streamer at some point, whether you're a smaller streamer, mid-size, or huge, they will say things like, I don't feel like I'm enough. And it's because we're seeking that external validation. And when we do get it, we want more because the high that we get from it is very temporary and fleeting. So then the next question is, what void are we as streamers trying to fill through with this external validation? It's obviously something that we're not giving ourselves with internal validation. So while most of us do want to just grow and be big and be famous, we have to really think about what a follower and a follow actually represents versus what it is, which is just a person following you on a platform. It's more than that. The first thing a follow gives you is it makes you feel like you belong. Like, oh, maybe for a lot of us, we never felt like we belonged anywhere before. But if somebody is following you on your streaming platform, they think you're cool enough to follow. They want to be around you. Now you feel like you belong somewhere. Another thing is validation. This is basically the algorithm or the platform that you're on saying, hey, your stream is good enough for us to push out there so people actually want to come and see it. I know when I was on Twitch for 7 years, there's no discoverability on Twitch. So my streams would always be in the single digit CCVs versus when I started streaming on TikTok and I started seeing double digit people, triple digit people sometime. It's like, oh my gosh, like I feel validated right now. Like people are seeing my stream and they're actually liking it and they're actually staying and they're actually following me. I felt so validated because Twitch had for so many years made me feel like something was wrong with me and my streams when the real problem was nobody could see it. The last major thing I feel like a follow represents is recognition. Streaming and putting yourself out there is scary. So when you put yourself out there and somebody comes by, it's like, wow, this person actually sees me. Like I'm having a connection with another human being, albeit it is virtual, but still, we have connections even virtually. And the same exact qualities apply to viewers. And that's why streaming to no one or having lower numbers than usual on your streams hurts so much because you subconsciously feel less worthy. And if you're liking the video so far and it's speaking to you and you feel heard and seen and validated, be sure to subscribe. So now that we know what we're actually wanting out of that external validation, which is to feel worthy, now we need to figure out how to shift our mindset so we can get out of that. Because external validation is nice, but it's temporary and it's up to other people to give it to you. So we need to get some internal validation going on. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is detach your worth as a person and a content creator from your numbers. Now, I understand that this is far easier said than done, and this will take a while, so be gentle with yourself on this journey to do this. A good place to start with doing this is to remind yourself, why did I start streaming? Or why am I currently streaming? Because your reason for streaming can change as time goes by. If your goals include being famous, being big, having a huge community, anything that involves interactions with other people, maybe you want to shift your goals to quality over quantity. So focusing on having those deeper engagements with people that do come by. And trust me, I understand if nobody is coming by right now, that is pretty hard to do. But if you focus on the quality of it, it will still be a little bit easier than if you're focusing on the number of people. Focus on how you are interacting with anybody that does come by. If your goals don't really include interacting with other people or people needing to follow you, then you can focus more on everything else that's in your control, like improving your stream quality, networking, and keeping to your schedule. Another thing you're gonna wanna do is to recognize through self-reflection when you actually want that external validation and even what void that validation would be filling. Because at the end of the day, we're all people and we're all gonna want external validation at some point. It's totally natural and okay. Now understand that this tip does take a little bit of self-reflection, but I'll make that a little easier for you. You can ask yourself questions like, what do I actually want right now? And why do I want that thing right now? And then you're just gonna keep asking yourself why to every response that you're giving yourself until you get to the root cause. And I want you to be honest with yourself when you're doing this exercise, because if you just lie to yourself and say the ideal answer or the right answer, you're just going to be lying to yourself and hurting yourself in the end, because this is an exercise for you, not anybody else. A quick example of this could be on TikTok. I like getting views over 500. Okay, why? Because it makes me feel like people like my content. Okay, why does that matter? Because my main goal on there was to have conversations with people. Okay, why? Because before being on TikTok, I felt like I had never been seen. So now I can kind of back it up a little bit and be like, oh, okay, I was wanting that for external validation and to feel recognized, to feel like I belong somewhere. You want to make sure that you're focusing on creating a space that you're happy to be in, because if you're not having fun streaming, people can pick up on that and they're not going to have fun either. So they're not really going to want to hang out with you probably. I know. We really just want to decrease our dependency on that external validation by focusing on the internal instead, because getting internal validation is far more in our control than getting an external validation. And if you're ready to tackle one of the least effective streamer strategies there is out there, be sure to watch my next video.